Good evening, everyone. I hope you've all had a pretty long, good weekend, as yesterday was Martin Luther King Day and markets were closed yesterday. But we're going to review what occurred on Friday since I did not make a video on Friday as I had other obligations to tend to, and then review what occurred today. Try to make this video pretty short and sweet as there really wasn't a lot to review today, but there is a decent amount to review for Friday. So we'll look right here on the monthly. We're going to start it off with the monthly. We're going to look at the monthly candles here. Still in balance. Nothing's changed, but something is different. We're bouncing against this trend line from last year, this downward trend line. So, question is, do we reject off of it, come down and test the balance low? Do we get above it? Could come up and test the monthly balance high. Well, that all determines or depends on what the weekly wants to do here, right? The weekly, we've been one time framing up. Go back to our previous weekly balance. We've been one time framing up since we broke out of that weekly balance 2 weeks in a row now, as we took out last week's high this week. So we've been one time framing up. However, we're still battling where this trend line is and the 4,000 level, pretty visual area, as well as that big wick down from the outside week down that we had back in December. So right now, market's trying to move higher, right? But we have economic data coming out tomorrow, such as the PPI, things of that nature can and will cause a reaction, and we'll see which way the market wants to go. But right now, the market's one time framing up on the weekly. We're one time framing up. So this is in the bigger picture, right? We're one time framing up on the daily now as well. We've been one time framing up for a couple days now, as we were at one point in time in balance. We were in a 3-day balance is what I was calling it. You could have called it a 2-day balance using this low here where I just marked. Could have called it a 2-day balance, but I called it a 3-day. I wanted to encompass this whole level here because I felt like if we were to take out this low before we had this gap up, we were back below the 20, then good chances you were going to test that balance low or that day's low. But we held it. We gapped up. So far we've held the gap. We're above the 200-day moving average 3 days in a row. I'm not going to include yesterday's trading session in my analysis overall because it was just a half day and only for the futures market. So that candle I will ignore, but we were one time framing up. So far the market's gone from balance to up, back to balance, back to up. Will we go back to balance or will we continue to trend upward as we're attempting to find acceptance above this 200-day moving average on the daily, right? We're one time framing up, 1, 2, 3, 4 days in a row now. Will we roll over on the fifth, put us back into somewhat of a balance, maybe back test this balance high, the 200-day moving average? Things to note: 50's curling up, the 20's curling up. We have this gap down here. If tomorrow we take out today's low, then you're going to be back into a balance, and then you'll look to attack Friday's trend day, which we kind of already done a little bit today. You'll look to attack Friday's trend day, and then maybe potentially come back and get this gap at some point in time. Now, don't forget, we also, if we do find acceptance above the 200, have this big gap on the daily up here. That it could also be a target, which happens to be near our monthly balance high. If I were to, yep, around 43.2750, and then that gap is right around 42.23. So somewhat near the balance high. That could be an area of interest. Let's go down to what occurred on the profile here. We're going to review Friday's action a little bit, and then we'll review what occurred today because we kind of took back of what the bulls accomplished on Friday. So let's just look and focus on Friday here. So I'm zoomed in here just so we can kind of have a bigger, clear, better picture. So this is Friday's action. All this, oh, did not mean to. All this day right here. This was Friday's action. So we had opened up relatively strong. To an extent, pushed up, kind of chopped around a little bit, and then we decided to go trend. Got some single prints formed. We had one set. Friday was a triple distribution, as we had one set of single prints right here that I have marked at the moment. This set of single prints in here, I'm about to mark. And then you had the price probe, then you had M's range for the next set. So you had the price probe and then Oliver M's range. So triple distribution, 1, 2, 3. So today, when we opened up, I did really well on Friday. Let's just go ahead back and recap. Did well on Friday. Traded this move up. I initially started out pretty rough on the day because I was shorting on these time frames on the pushes up on Friday, as I didn't think we wanted to go trend because we were just trading in the previous day's range. So I felt like the market was relatively weak, but it turned out to be a pretty decent grind up. Volume wasn't as heavy as we would have hoped, but gave us decent range as shorts covered. And so I decided to switch long and then got a couple really good trades later in that day. Put me up on the day nicely and closed out the week up really well. Then we come in today. Only took 3 trades today, but today we opened up in the upper distribution from Friday. I ignore this profile here, but we opened up in the upper distribution, pulled back, got the price probe. So initially we opened up above it. That's kind of what bulls were hoping for. They wanted to see us open up above this area right here that I'm marking. That is where the price probe was initially, but we took that back in A period as we flushed down, got rid of some weak longs from the overnight, and anybody that bought at the open thinking we were going to take out the day's high immediately. So we flushed out some weak longs, and then finally we pushed back up above the opening. B opens up. We initially thought we were going to have a lowest accepted price. That's when A period open or closes, B period opens up and pushes directly. So if you look here, see how A period closed right there at 40.18. B period opens up at 40.1850. Never pulled back, pushed up. Pretty strong push there. Got above Friday's high. We continued a one time frame up, and we set the high of day at the time. Don't know what occurred for us to pull back and have a pretty big liquidation in C period, but C period decided it wanted to have some other things. Of course, we never got the initial balance high. C period pulls back, flush out some weak longs. Anybody that bought up here, they got hurt. We pull back, and then we end up taking out the initial balance low. Filling, I forgot to mention, we did fill that set of single prints in A period right there. In A period, we filled that set of single prints. Later in the day in D period, we pulled back and then dipped our toes into the next set of single prints. We missed filling them by 2 ticks. The low in D period was 4,275. Single prints filled at 4,225, so we missed it by 2 ticks before we bounced up. That would have been a great long opportunity because you filled the single prints, you get out below, because at that point you would come and trade in this lower distribution. However, we held the set of single prints. Anybody that did take a long there got paid well because we pushed back up into the upper distribution from Friday, and then we became rotational. Just chop back and forth. We end the day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 wide. So almost a perfect point of control. We end 12 wide. 13 would have been perfect with the B period, but however, we close 12 wide at eyes low, 4,012.75. So we're rotational back and forth through this 4,010 to 4,016 area. Early on in the day, point of control was at 4,016.25. That's just where price was rotating back and forth through multiple time frames in the day. Buyers and sellers were happy there. We have an afternoon rally high in J period, not textbook, but it is an afternoon rally high, meaning it's the first time frame to take out a previous time frame's high, and then we push down and never look back. K period got near it, but we never took it out. So we're going to say that that's an area of interest for the selling tomorrow. We'll mark that. However, that's when I decided to get involved. I got involved in I period uh, because initially we thought F period right here was going to be the afternoon rally high. Good risk reward short on the push up against halfback and the opening. I decided to get short for 40.18 and added up into 40.20. I would have been out above ace high up here at 40.24. That's where I had my stop at. So I shorted an I period. We pulled back. I got paid pretty well on a two lot. Just kept it small size for this week is what I think I'm gonna do. Uh, then later in J period, we opened up, pushed up, got above eyes high. Didn't really get much tempo or momentum out of it. So once we kind of came back into eyes range, I began to short at 40.19 and 40.20, and then we pulled back. So the goal was to get us pulled back into G periods high, which was point of control at the time, was at 40.16. So I would have made 4 points on the trade. So we pull back. I get out of my trade, and then this thing decides to flush pretty good in J period. Had I decided to hold for a value low, I could have squeezed out a couple more points on it, but you're never going to catch the full move, and that is something I recognize. So had a really good trade there in J period. I caught the afternoon rally high. Really pleased with myself. However, once we got down in J period, near value low, I noticed we weren't getting much any more push to the downside. So I felt like it was a good risk reward long. Even Paul was talking about it in the Discord room. How it could be a potential good risk reward long to rotate back up to POC, which at the time was at G's high 4016 before it got moved lower later in the day. So point of control was up here, right where I'm marking. Point of control was right here. We'll mark that yellow. Point of control was there early on in the day. That's where it was majority of the day until it got moved lower. But I decided to get long in J period, thinking we had good odds of rotating back up to that point of control in K. And I felt like it was good risk reward long because we were near value low, and I would have gotten out at F's low right here at 4,725. So I was getting long at 4,975. So I got long right in this range. We push up, K period opens up, and then we just run it back up into that point of control where I sell out of my position for a really nice profit. Really good trade on my end. From 9 to 16 was a great trade on the two lot. I closed up on the day around 30 points just between three trades. So, being patient, waiting for market generator information, uh, that will pay the bill. So, if there's any tips I can give to any new traders out there, is be patient, wait for the trade to come to you, take good risk reward trades such as the long here in J period against F's low, or taking the short in J period once you notice you couldn't get back up, couldn't push up any higher, you got back into I's range, then you know to get short to rotate lower. Uh, However, we do end up with point of control finishing it out the day at I's low, so I'm going to move it down here to 4,012.75, and we'll go ahead and label that and start labeling our destinations. Then we'll give out some if-then statements on what to expect for the week, or for tomorrow anyway, before we get the PPI data. Let's see here, point of control, POC. And point of control is just, like I said, it's an area where time frames move through price multiple time frames in a row. So for today's point of control, we were 12 out of 13, so almost a perfect point of control. There are 13 time frames in the day. We rotated through that price 12 out of those 13 because B period never got back into that 16 to 12 range. So we got a 12 wide point of control there. We got our afternoon rally high in J period. We'll label that. Afternoon rally high. Boom, boom, boom. There we go. and we closed near the low of the day, kind of. We dipped our toe into those set of single prints, so we didn't necessarily feel it. So we got our low day down here at 4,275. Do not correct this bar. Do not correct this bar. I don't know why I keep clicking that. Okay, 4,275. Let's mark that. So that is our low of day slash single prints where they start. So we're going to keep that in mind there. So we're going to keep that there for a friendly reminder that that is where single prints will start. But that is also our low of day. So still got a couple ticks to fill. So let's look at what we can do tomorrow. M closed near the low of the day and below the 12 point of control, so that becomes an upside destination. So if tomorrow we open up in this lower range of 4,000s right here, right? We open up near the day's low and we can't take out today's low and fill that set of single prints, then you'll rotate back up into this 12 point of control. If we get the 12 point of control with some momentum, then you can look to get up to this afternoon rally high and potentially take a short against it. Once you take short against that 4,021 level, I'd be out above A's high at 4,024 because at that point, probability of getting the day's high is good because we've been one time framing up uh, multiple days in a row. However, tomorrow data could affect these ideas. Now, if we open up above 12 value point control and the afternoon rally high, well, the afternoon rally high goes away, but we keep the 12 value point control. So if we open up above the afternoon rally high, say we open above 4,021, then you look to rotate near the high of day. If we can't take out the high of day at 4,035, then you'll rotate and come down to this 12 Y point of control. Y points of control are areas like magnets. Uh, we have we don't really have any Y points of control to the downside. We did have one to the upside. So if we take out today's high, there's nothing stopping us from getting this non-wide point of control from December 14th up here at 4,076.50. And that is possible if consumers and the market enjoy what the PPI data has to say for us tomorrow. It's either tomorrow or Thursday. I think it's tomorrow. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for stopping by, watching. If you do enjoy these videos, please leave a like, subscribe, maybe even comment what I can do better, or if there's certain stock or anything else you'd like to see me break down a deeper technical analysis on from a volume, a profile, TPO standpoint, please holler at me and I'll do my best. Thanks once again. Have a great day.